Snow fell softly over Netherford as Christmas lights warmed the quiet streets. Emily left another long shift at the bakery, tired but hopeful. Tonight, Daniel said he had her gift. Maybe she would finally feel appreciated after a long year of sacrifice. She hurried through the cold, imagining something meaningful. A phone she'd dreamed of all year. Something that showed her love mattered. But Daniel's apartment held a different surprise entirely. One that would shatter her expectations. He handed her a lightbox. Inside lay cheap, broken reindeer antlers. Plastic, glittery, crooked. A joke, he insisted. A joke for someone who expected too much. Emily felt something inside her quietly break apart. She set the antlers on the table. "Thank you," she murmured, then walked out. Daniel scoffed, but she didn't look back. Snow brushed her cheeks as she stepped outside, breath trembling yet laced with a strange sense of release. Home greeted her with soft lights. Small, imperfect, but hers. She blocked Daniel's number and exhaled. The hurt was heavy, but relief nestled beside it. Maybe tomorrow would finally be kinder than the days before. A knock woke her early. Sophie entered with concern. Daniel had posted lies online, calling Emily ungrateful. Sophie hugged her tightly. "You did the right thing," she whispered, warming the cold ache in Emily's chest. Sophie took her to the Christmas market for air and sweetness. Snow floated around them, lights glimmering like tiny stars. The market buzzed with life, but Emily's heart beat quietly, uncertain yet open to anything gentle. A voice called her name. Nathan Rivera, quiet, kind, older now, stood smiling at her. She hadn't seen him since school. His eyes held warmth she had forgotten existed. "It's really you," he said softly. They walked, and Emily told him about the breakup. Nathan listened without interrupting. "You always deserved better," he said. Even back then, his sincerity touched a part of her heart she thought was long gone. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown numbers. Threatening messages. Nathan stepped closer, protective. "You're not facing this alone," he said. His calm presence steadied her trembling breath. Emily asked why he cared so much. Nathan's gaze softened. "Because I liked you. I always did, and I never really stopped." The confession warmed the coldest corners of her heart. A car screeched nearby. Daniel stepped out, furious, breath sharp, eyes wild. "You think you can humiliate me?" he shouted, marching forward. Snow fell gently, unaware of the storm beneath it. Nathan stepped in front of Emily instantly. "Back away." Daniel lunged and grabbed for her arm. Nathan pushed him off with controlled strength. "You don't touch her anymore." His voice cut through the cold like steel. People gathered, watching. Daniel, seeing the attention, spat curses and sped away. Emily shook, tears slipping quietly. Nathan laid a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You're safe now," he whispered, steady as winter earth. They walked to a quieter corner of the market. Emily breathed deeply, slowly. Nathan stayed beside her, not pushing, not demanding, simply present. The warmth in his presence softened the wounds inside her. Sophie returned, hugged her fiercely, and praised her strength. Emily felt something shift, an ember of hope, glowing beneath the ashes of heartbreak. Maybe healing was finally possible. That night, Nathan walked her home. "Merry Christmas, Emily," he said softly. No pressure, no promises, just kindness. She held the warm cup he gave her long after he'd gone. Under the soft lights of her tiny tree, Emily realized Christmas had given her a different gift: clarity, freedom, and the courage to begin again. And the possibility of something tender waiting on the horizon. Days passed quietly, but Nathan stayed in her orbit. He brought pastries from cafes, walked her home after shifts, and checked on her without suffocating her. His presence was steady, warm, and patient. Daniel's online posts stopped abruptly after a few confrontations from townsfolk. But one night, Emily found a note slipped under her door. "We need to talk. You owe me that." Her blood chilled, fear rising again. She told Nathan. His jaw tightened. "You're not meeting him alone. And you don't owe him anything." But Emily felt she needed closure, not for Daniel's sake, but for her own healing. They met at the cafe, Nathan nearby, watching over her. Daniel arrived with a forced smile. "I acted badly," he muttered. "You made me angry." The blame in his voice returned like a shadow Emily recognized too well. She breathed deeply. "You didn't value me. And I'm done letting you distort that." Daniel's face darkened. "You think he's better than me?" Emily didn't answer. Her silence was her power. Nathan stepped in when Daniel's voice rose. "We're done here," he said firmly. Daniel left in a storm of anger. But this time, Emily didn't tremble. She felt something close within her, the final door shutting. Outside, snow fell again. Emily looked at Nathan. Heart quieter, clearer. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything." Nathan shook his head gently. "You don't owe me gratitude. I'm here because I care." Emily stepped closer. "I know." Something warm unfolded between them, gentle, yet undeniable. The world seemed to hush around them as snow softened the streets of Netherfield. Nathan brushed a snowflake from her hair, slow and careful. "You deserve someone who chooses you every day," he said. Emily's eyes glistened. "Maybe I'm finally ready for that." Their foreheads touched lightly. A moment soft as snowfall, warm as a new beginning. Emily didn't rush. Nathan didn't push. The world simply aligned quietly around them. Snow had returned to Netherford like a quiet blanket, settling over rooftops and softening every corner of the world. But Emily's heart beat louder now. Days had passed since the confrontation with Daniel, and though she felt safer, shadows of the past still moved restlessly in her thoughts. Nathan's presence had become her anchor, but even anchors tremble when the waters are uncertain. Every morning he appeared outside the bakery with 2 cups of hot chocolate, offering one to her with the same gentle smile, warm enough to melt the frost on her windows, and maybe even the frost around her heart. Emily began to look forward to those small morning rituals, more than she cared to admit. One evening, after a long shift, she found Nathan waiting for her again. Coat dusted with snow, hands tucked into his pockets. The street was quiet, lanterns glowing with a golden shimmer. "Walk you home?" he asked softly. Emily nodded, though she knew she would have said yes even if she were exhausted. Especially if she were exhausted. They walked slowly, their footsteps crunching in the snow, breaths forming little clouds that drifted into the night. Nathan talked about simple things, music he liked, books he'd read, old memories of school. Emily listened, letting his voice smooth out the edges of her thoughts. At one point, he mentioned how he used to wait by the hallway just to catch a glimpse of her smile. She felt her cheeks warm at his confession. When they reached her door, Emily hesitated. A soft feeling tugged at her, pulling her closer to him in ways she didn't fully understand yet. She whispered goodnight, and Nathan stepped back with that easy patience he always carried. But as she entered her home, she found a small envelope on the floor. No name, no signature. Just a single line written hastily. Asterisk, "You think people will protect you forever." Her breath froze. She locked the door instantly, heart pounding, hands trembling. She leaned against the wall, closing her eyes as fear pulsed through her like icy water. Daniel had promised to stop, but his promises had always been lies. Emily messaged Nathan immediately. He arrived within minutes, still out of breath from running. When she showed him the note, his expression shifted, calm but fierce, protective in a way that made her feel both safe and afraid of what might unfold. "I won't let him near you again," he said quietly. "But you need to know he's not your responsibility anymore." Emily nodded, though deep down she felt a storm gathering inside her. She didn't want to be afraid forever. She wanted to reclaim her peace, her nights, her life. Nathan stayed with her until she fell asleep on the couch, a soft blanket wrapped around her. He didn't leave until morning broke across the windows. The next day, Emily tried to go about her routine work. Smiles for customers, small conversations, but shadows lingered around the edges of her mind. Sophie noticed instantly and pulled her aside. Emily hesitated, then finally shared the note. Sophie hugged her tightly, whispering that she wouldn't let anything happen. That evening, the town hosted its annual winter illumination, where thousands of lights were strewn across the square. Nathan insisted Emily join them all, hoping the warmth of celebration would quiet her fears. She agreed, craving distraction, craving light. The moment she stepped into the square, she felt something shift inside her. Music played softly, children laughed, candles flickered from stalls, and the world glowed in warm tones. Nathan walked beside her, never too close, never too far, just enough to remind her of safety. But as the lights flickered to life in a grand, shimmering wave, Emily sensed someone watching her. She scanned the crowd, heart pounding again, breath short. Nathan noticed instantly. "What is it?" I don't know," she whispered. "I just feel." Then she saw him. Daniel, half hidden behind the Christmas tree, face tight, eyes burning with resentment, watching her and Nathan like he owned the right. Emily froze, panic tightening her chest. Nathan followed her gaze. His jaw locked, muscles tense, breath slow and controlled. "Stay with Sophie," he said firmly. Before she could answer, he moved toward Daniel with unyielding calm. Emily clung to Sophie, trembling, watching the two men speak. The conversation was hard to hear, But Daniel's gestures were sharp, agitated, while Nathan remained steady, like a silent storm holding itself back. Suddenly Daniel shoved Nathan. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Emily felt her heart plummet. Nathan didn't strike back. He held himself with strength she could feel, even from a distance. But Daniel's voice rose, and security finally intervened, pulling him aside as he shouted Emily's name through clenched teeth. Nathan returned to her, breath cold, eyes soft but serious. "He's not going to get close again," he said. "Not here, not tonight." She nodded, tears shimmering in her eyes, relief and fear intertwined. As the night quieted again, they walked to the edge of the square. Snow began to fall softly, glittering under the lights like tiny falling stars. Emily felt the weight of the evening pressing against her heart. "Nathan, I don't want you getting hurt because of me." He took her hands gently. "I'm not here out of obligation. I'm here because I choose to be. Because you matter to me." His voice was low, steady, leaving no room for doubt. Emily swallowed hard, emotion folding through her like warm light. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I'm scared of everything right now." "Then let me help you carry what scares you," he murmured. In that moment, surrounded by snow and lights and the distant hum of winter celebrations, something fragile but powerful flickered between them. Emily stepped closer, heart thudding softly. Nathan brushed a tear from her cheek with a tenderness she hadn't known in years. For the first time in months, she let her head rest against someone. His arms wrapped around her carefully, as if she were something precious. As if she were something he had waited a long time to hold. Snow fell in gentle halos around them. The world faded into quiet warmth. Nathan whispered into her hair, "You're safe now. And you're not alone anymore." And for the first time since everything had unraveled, Emily believed him.